Hey everybody. So this video I'm going to talk about how to predict the tops and the bottoms on Bitcoin using a couple factors, and it's worked so far. So let's get into it. I have the Bitcoin chart here on TradingView. I have it on the weekly time frame. So first thing I want to do is mark the tops and the bottoms, right? So I'm going to use this measuring deal here, go from the top, well, top to top. Okay, so it's 211 bars. All right, so let's even do that here. So we'll put 211 bars. Okay, now let's go to this next one. Top to top, 204 bars. 204 bars. Okay, let's go to this next one. Top, the exact top, right? Top to the exact top, 203 bars. Well, I think it's actually 203 or 204, but it's pretty close. Okay, so let's just do 203. Okay, so that's the top. We'll leave it in green, and then we're going to go from the top to the first bottom. Okay, so the top to the first bottom here is 59 bars. So 59 bars to bottom. Let's do first bottom. And the second bottom here is 90 bars. 90 to the second. And that's probably the only one we're going to, well, we could do it on one of the other charts here. Okay, now let's go to the top to the bottom here. 52 bars. Okay. $50 to bottom. Okay, we're not going to do a second bottom here because that's kind of a weird situation. Now let's do this one. So top to bottom is 52 bars. Oh, that's pretty incredible. Same as last time, 52 bars to bottom. Okay, so this is the last three cycles. The cycle before probably wouldn't work quite as well because it was really volatile back then. But you have roughly 3 different cycles that you can use to measure where the next bottom is going to be. Now, the other thing that we can look at here is Bitcoin has a halving every 4 years. So its first halving was in 2012. We don't have the data here. But the second halving was July 9th, 2016. So we're going to do July 9th. It's roughly right there. Okay, the next one was May 11, 2020. So somewhere around here. May 11, 2020. Okay. And then the next one was April 20th, 2024. Roughly right there. Okay, so if you look, every time we top, we have Bitcoin halves about 127 bars in. We could look at this next one. We're actually going to mark that. Okay, so 27 bars, 128 bars roughly. So let's do that as well. Having 128 bars from top. Okay, let's do that here on this one too. So you top right there, about 126 bars. Okay, and then let's look at this one over here. $137 bars. It's a little different. 137 halving, 137 bars from top. Okay, so if we look at the data on all three of these, it actually might be better. We might do one more of these. Okay, so let's look from halving to the top of the cycle is 74. 78. This is actually going to work better. So let's do this. Halving to top, 74 bars. And then this one I already forgot. Let me see. 79. Okay. And then halving to top here. About 75 bars. Okay. So on these previous cycles, 74, 79, so 74, oh, this needs to be over here. Okay, 74, 79, 75. So let's look at the next halving here. The fifth halving is expected April 2028. All right, so 2028, April. Roughly somewhere around there. So if we were to top the next cycle, we'd probably top between, let's say, 70 to 80 bars. Okay, so where does that bring us to? 70 bars would bring us to August 2029, August to October 2029. So let's do okay. So this would be your expected next top range in time. Okay, now where would the price be? Would it be probably not going to be that high, but let's just roughly put here. So obviously it's going to land somewhere within this range here. Okay, so that would be the way to predict the top. And then let's look from, at least from the halving perspective. Okay, and that might be all you need. Right, so if you look at from top to top, it was 230 bars. So where does that take us? 230 bars takes us a little bit. Oh, 203 bars, sorry. Lands us right at September. Okay, now let's look at, we're kind of verifying everything. So 204 bars also takes us right into September. 211 bars takes us to can't see where that's at. Let's go back over here. 211 bars. October. So we land in that box each time. Right? So this time frame is where we should roughly top in the next Bitcoin cycle. Now, from top to bottom, we could probably do that as well, right? So 59 bars to the first bottom, 52 bars to the first bottom, 52 bars to the first bottom. So roughly, let's say 50 to 60 bars is where we should bottom on BTC from the top here. Okay, and each one of these is literally 4-year cycles. So if you go from top to top, it's about 4 years. Okay, 211, 204, 203, same situation happened. Top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. It's based on supply and demand. So if we're looking for the next bottom, we're going to bring this up, and then we're going to do 50 to 60 bars. So where does that land us? We start right here. 50 bars would be the 14th of September. Okay, and then 10 more bars from there would be November, 23 of November. Okay, boom. Right, so Bitcoin should bottom somewhere within this zone and time frame. Okay, so I do, in my Patreon, I go over exactly what price I think that Bitcoin is going to finish out bottoming here. And, when I think it's going to happen as well. I just gave you that for being a subscriber here on my YouTube video. But if you want the exact price of where I think BTC is going to bottom, then check out the Patreon. It's pretty helpful, but this is really good information. You should be able to use this for Bitcoin's future cycles as well. I know a lot of people are probably sitting there saying you can't predict, what's going to happen by the history of Bitcoin, but I've showed it here. If you went by this rule the first time, you would have got pretty dang close here, and then you would have got pretty dang spot on right there as well. Now here is the fourth chance, so that it's a higher probability that this plays out as well, especially based on supply and demand and the halving and just the way that Bitcoin operates, human emotion as well. We should still end up somewhere within this box. You could have a single bottom, right, that ends up at the price that I gave the Patreon, maybe a little bit sooner than this box, but most likely we're going to end up in that box. You could have a triple bottom. There's a lot of different ways that it can play out, and that's what I teach in my Patreon. I do 2 videos a week, and I cover pretty much everything, and I guide you through the decisions that I make in the altcoin market, and we've made some successful trades in the past 2 cycles. Some of them were thousands of percent. Some of them we're still holding on to, and it's a pretty good educational group. So come check it out. It's in the bio. The link's in the bio. Check it out for a month. If you don't like it, feel free to leave. But you will learn quite a bit in that month that you probably didn't know before. It's always important to invest in yourself. I always was taught that the best thing to use money for is to exchange money for value, and believe me, there is a lot of value in this group. So I hope you all have a good week, and I'll talk to you on the next video.